Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Knights of the Pageless Library. We are a little podcast dedicated to reviewing audiobooks. I am Ryan Knight,
And I am Bo Knight.
and today, if we sound completely different, it's because we're trying something completely different from our normal recording because uh, Bo's on vacation, I'm on vacation. Technical issues. So hopefully this sounds okay. We're going to go ahead and do an episode anyways. And today we're going to be covering The Legend of Sleepy Hollow and Rivals 2, More Frenemies Who Changed the World.
Who are those narrated by?
The Legend of Sleepy Hollow was written by Washington Irving and was narrated by, the one we are listening to is by Anthony Heald, was narrated by Anthony Heald. And then Rivals was narrated by a whole bunch of people.
Right, it's like an ensemble cast.
Yeah, it's like actually a pretty big cast of people. So these are both relatively short. These are also both available with your Audible subscription. So they are free to you if you have an Audible subscription. Legend of Sleepy Hollow is only an hour and 17 minutes, and Rivals 2 is only 2 hours and 14 minutes. So both pretty short books.
Yeah, they're relatively short, so they're not going to take up a whole lot of your time.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Sleepy Hollow first.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask you. Which one you want to talk about first? So let's talk about that one first.
Let's
see.
Go ahead. I don't really know a lot about like the Legend of Sleepy Hollow, other than there's like a headless horseman.
Same actually, and that there's a movie with Johnny Depp in it.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's the movie.
What the heck did they make the movie about?
It was based on this story.
Interesting. What?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, do we even really want to talk about the story of this one? I mean, well, let's
go through like the normal beats. So, like, what did you think about the narrator?
Actually, I thought Anthony Heald was okay. I think for what he was given.
Yeah, kind of like lullaby though. Like, was like driving at nighttime. Listen to this. It's like you're gonna crash your car.
That was gonna be my next probably complaint though, is that the first time I tried listening to this was on an airplane and I fell asleep within 10 minutes. Like, and I never fall asleep away on a plane. So, yeah, I mean, maybe a little monotone, I suppose, but I mean, he's not really doing a whole lot of characters in this one. But
no,
and I think a lot of it is not completely his fault because this is very, very like poetic, in my opinion.
Right. Yeah.
Like,
I don't know.
The way this is written is very like poetry, which I mean makes sense because I think this is a very first published in 1820.
Is this the oldest book that we've done?
I think so. Yeah, it's got to be. Yeah, first published in 1820. So,
wow, that's pretty old.
Yeah, the story actually of the book is set in 1790.
Oh, I didn't even realize that.
Yeah.
So, what do you think? You think this is pretty easy listening?
No, absolutely not.
I 100% agree with you. I'll save it. I have something else I want to say about that, but
so I don't think this is easy listening. I think that once you understand what the story is, super simplistic story. But
what is it even really about?
That's what I was going to say. But
that's
actually
what I was gonna say.
figuring
It's
it
like
out,
it got done, and I was like, wait, what? It's like, what happened? What? Like, none of this makes any sense.
no, the overall arch of the story is super simple. You could probably sum it up in like a paragraph. But actually teasing out what the point of the book is was very difficult for me, at least.
I don't think I ever figured it out.
And I think the problem with that, at least to me, is because it's very poetry driven and poetry written. So there's so much description on stuff that has no point to the story at all.
Like, I would say 95% of it is just talking about the town.
Yeah, exactly.
But for no reason.
Right. It also exactly.
Like, literally no purpose, adds nothing to the story, I guess, other than like a setting. But the setting isn't even really that relevant.
No,
like, I don't
it's
know.
Really.
I don't know. To me, I'm sure some English teacher out there right now is pounding his desk and be like, "You freaking rubes didn't even understand Sleepy Hollow." Probably. I didn't. I'm too
This
stupid,
is a work of art.
Yeah, this book didn't have enough monster trucks and motorcycles to keep me interested.
Exactly. I definitely agree though. Like this was it was just I'm sure it is for its time and stuff like that. It might be something special. But to be honest, listen to
is
it
it
now,
supposed
like
to be scary?
I hope not, because
it's
not at all. No. Like not at all.
Like I've read more disturbing like children pop-up books.
Or like short Reddit stories.
Yeah. 2-sentence horror is scarier than this.
Right. All right. So if it's not obvious, let's go ahead and get into our recommendations. So I'll allow you to go first.
I did not enjoy this at all. I didn't understand it. I don't. I guess like the only reason you'd really come to this is like for the sense of like a classic. But
yes,
I don't really know what the main draw here is. If you want to hear like a little like 4 sentences about the Headless Horseman, kind of, it's here, I guess.
It's amazing to me that so my recommendation also is a resounding no, because
it's a waste of an hour.
This interesting. Yeah, I didn't really find it interesting. I found it incredibly hard to follow, like painfully hard, and I was even trying. Like,
it's almost impenetrable.
It blows my mind that the Headless Horseman like trope comes from this book. Yeah, because like it literally is mentioned for like one sentence at the very, very, very end of the book. So like, how? I don't know. I guess I don't understand.
Yeah, me neither. So yeah, don't waste your time on the Headless Horseman, in my opinion.
I agree. In my opinion as well. I mean, if your English teacher or something is gonna make you listen or read this, oh my god, good luck. Like,
yeah.
I mean, because I would say let's go ahead and spoil it, but there's not enough meat here to really spoil, and two, the story itself can be summed up so quickly. It literally is about the what's his face Ichabod Crane moving to the town of Sleepy Hollow, and then he tries to like chase after the girl. I don't even know what her name is.
Yeah, I don't remember either.
Katrina, maybe. Either way, it's literally about this guy. He moves to this town to chase after this girl, and he doesn't even really do a whole lot during the story while he's there. Like you said, most of it is describing like a room in a building that takes up like 3 paragraphs.
Yeah, or like talking about people and the way they look.
Yeah, or it's like, oh, and that's so and so. He's known as Bones because, and then it like goes into a description of the background of why this guy has his nickname. And it's like
Yeah,
it's not
I
even
don't know how many times I
interesting.
like held my hands up when I was like, when is the freaking headless horseman going to show up?
Yeah, and the only reason that's mentioned in the beginning is because there's like a rumor going around this town that there's a headless horseman who lost his head during the war. It was knocked off by a cannonball, and now he holds his head while he rides his horse around this town. But
Yeah, but it's never really
it's just
explained
like a
like
ghost story.
why he is a ghost. Why is he evil? Like it doesn't really talk about that.
Doesn't talk about any of it. No,
He was just some random Hessian soldier.
right? Yeah,
It's not
it
even like
didn't
he
make
was like
any.
an important general or anything. It's just
That's
some
the
guy.
thing, though. That's what drove me nuts about this too. Is there was so much description on like he walks into the bar and talks about like, and then there was this roaring fire in the hearth, and above that on the mantle was this magnificent like it goes into all this detail about the bar for like a whole freaking 6 paragraphs, but then it's like, oh yeah, and this headless horseman runs around here. Who cares about that? Look at this
It
bar.
was like sweeping it under the rug, which I didn't really understand.
Yeah. And then basically at the end of the story though, like Ichabod is chasing this girl, like he's trying to get with this girl, get her to marry him or whatever they did back in the 1800s. And like if I'm understanding this correctly, it doesn't work out for him and he gets upset and he tries to leave town and the headless horseman attacks him and that's the end of the story.
Yeah. But like,
That's
did he
it.
do something to provoke the headless horseman? Like, I don't understand.
I don't know. I don't know. And maybe I'm just too stupid, but I don't know. I really don't.
Yeah, we didn't read into the subtext.
I guess not. I didn't read between the many, many, many descriptive lines.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't get it.
Same. Um. So
You want
yeah,
to move on to rivals now?
I do. Let's talk about something that's actually entertaining.
Really? Okay.
So, we also listened to Rivals 2, More Frenemies Who Changed the World. For anybody who's wondering why I'm kind of talking about it that way, is we've also done Rivals 1. So please go back and listen to that episode and then come back here. Um, this one is by Scott McCormick. And as I said, it's narrated by a whole slew of people. So, yeah. I believe it came out. This one came out last year in 2019. As I said, it's 2 hours and 14 minutes long.
Yeah.
So, what did you think of the narration in this one from the
I
cast?
think this one is substantially worse compared to the first one.
I mean, I thought the first one, like, I remember I complained a lot about the first one, and I think I would probably have similar complaints about this. When I said let's talk about something that's actually entertaining, I meant in contrast to Sleepy Hollow.
Okay, that's why I was confused. It's like,
yeah.
I don't know. It's just there's too many voices for me. There's too many like little chirps. Like he's like making his own memes in his own book.
Yeah.
And I was not a fan. It really
No.
pulled me out of the story a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And like
So
they do this thing where it's like the characters he's talking about are talking to you, and it's very jarring a lot of the time because the voices do not sound anything like they should, in my opinion.
yeah, I agree actually. And I was kind of disappointed by
Like when he
some of
does
this.
the Nikola Tesla and Edison, the voices he uses for that, like those two like voice actors, like whatever direction they got was really bad.
Well, yeah,
Like
because
I don't know what they were thinking, honestly.
and that was the story I was looking forward to the most,
Me
obviously,
too.
because I love a good Edison Tesla, like
Okay,
telling of the tale.
let's get through some of the stuff so I can talk about what I really think about this whole thing.
Okay. Was this one easy to follow?
Yes, because there's not
Okay.
much here.
I agree. Plus, it's pretty straightforward. I mean, this is a collection of like short stories explaining specific events in history. So, like the Edison Tesla rivalry and the Chanel and Schiaparelli rivalry. That's basically all that's happening here. Is they're talking about those rivalries and basically explaining it to us as the listeners. Um, so yeah, it
Kind
is
of.
pretty easy to follow. Um, would you say this one's easy listening?
Yeah, sure.
I mean, I would agree though with what you said. It can be jarring when they're switching from talking to each other as characters to trying to talk to me as the listener.
Yeah, and a lot of the time it makes no sense.
Right. I agree.
Yeah, I don't know.
All right. So
So
recommendation.
I went first last time.
Okay. Um, I mean, I think if you needed like a quick and dirty breakdown of some of these things, like if one of your teachers was like, it was like a Friday afternoon and they were like, by Monday, you need to tell me what went on between Joe Frazier and Muhammad Ali. By all means, yeah, go ahead and listen to this because it's quick and it gives you a relative description of the feud between these two people and like what took place in history between these two people. However, the way it's done, I agree with you. Like there was a couple things that I thought were funny, like, but I kind of have the same complaints I had about the first one. Is like just too much of it. I felt like pulled me out of the actual history lesson into, like you said, making his own memes and stuff like that.
Okay, my recommendation is a resounding no. Don't check this out.
Okay.
One of the big issues I have with this is he makes it seem like he's going to do a deep dive on these things, and he goes barely surface level, like front page of Wikipedia stuff. He like barely skims the top off of what
Yeah,
happened,
I agree.
and that really bothered me. Like when he was talking about Edison and Tesla, he really didn't have a whole lot to say about their rivalry. He maybe said like one paragraph of them actually competing, and it was more just a history of those two individuals' lives.
Sure.
I
That
didn't
that
appreciate
is
that.
true. That is
I didn't
true, especially
appreciate
when you're
that.
talking
And
about the book is considered, that's why it's called Rivals. So yeah, you're right.
I didn't like the fashion one. They didn't sound like rivals at all. They didn't even sound like they knew each other really even existed. I didn't understand why he like put that in the book at all. It didn't really sound like they were rivals. He even mentioned that like, oh well, history never really thought of them as rivals. It's like, so why did you talk about them? Like he
Yeah,
really didn't even
kind of
talk
weird.
about like them competing. He just talked about their own lives. And the one with Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier, he did, which is one of my favorite ones. But still, the book is still like it's mostly like memes and like wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Remember I said that, and
Right.
it's not really a history lesson. Like you would learn more from drunk history than you would this.
Yeah, and drunk history is hilarious. So
Yeah, and this to me this is like a half. It's like trying to like half be a comedy book and half educational, and it doesn't succeed at either.
sure, yeah, it's kind of taking the worst of both parts. I agree because, and I think too that the Joe Frazier and Muhammad Ali one in this book was my favorite as far as the way it was done. But
Yeah, but
like
how
you
can
said
you
too,
screw up Edison and Tesla, which is like one of my
yeah,
favorite things in the world, and you made me not care? Like
yeah,
what?
that's true.
I don't know. Like it between the two books, it seemed like he doubled down on the meminess, and I that's the part I didn't like.
Which, to be honest, is becoming more and more of a prevalent problem in our
I
time, I feel
know
like. And it is
what is going
driving
on.
me insane. Like,
I'm gonna make a
I'm not
bold statement
saying
right now. I don't. I'm sorry. Like all audiobook creators, memes don't work in an audio format.
no,
Like, what are you doing?
no,
Memes
exactly.
are a visual thing. Like, what are you doing?
Well, and that's just it.
Maybe
That's
I'm
where
the idiot and freaking they made 85 billion off this book or something. But I didn't enjoy it at all. It was like it's only 2 hours and it felt like a slog. Like I was like forcing myself to listen to it.
Yeah. I don't think I had quite as bad of a time with it, but I definitely agree that I don't think this was as good as the first one, and I did not actually considerably like the first one. So
yeah, you didn't like the first one at all. I thought the first one's okay. It's good. I think the first one is good.
I think the first one
at least like
was
the
much
history is in the first one. Like there's actually
better. Right.
like good history notes.
And I know and I understand this is aimed more at a younger audience, but I think that and and I get it, the younger audience, they love the memes. But if you're aiming this at a younger audience, there, Mr. McCormick, since I know you listened last time to our first review, um,
I kind of
think
hope
that
he doesn't listen to this one.
well, I think it makes it that much more important though that you hit those key historical notes. You know that you're make that the more important part. Like you said, don't try to split it between comedy and history. You can achieve both, but I think getting the history part is very important in something like this.
Yeah, I
I'm not
totally
saying
agree.
I'm not I'm not saying he even got any of the history wrong. I'm saying go more into it. Like give me a lot of information about these people.
Yeah, exactly. And if you're gonna make it about their rivalry, like talk about the specific things they did to each other.
Sure. Yeah, that's the point.
Not just like them coexisting in the same space and like competing for the
Right.
same things. That's not a rivalry.
I agree.
Yeah, I don't know. Did not enjoy either of the books that we picked this time.
Yeah. That was my fault.
That's okay. It happens.
Don't worry, Mr. McCormick. I see you got another one on here. Pirates, Scoundrels Who Shook the World. This is the book 3 in the Rival series, so might have to set our sights on that one at some point.
Okay.
Maybe he can redeem himself on that one because this is like a big series. I think that he's making.
Is it popular?
Let me put it this way. I'm looking at Audible right now, and we are definitely not in the norm. This has like 4.5 stars out of 1,800 reviews.
Okay, but 12,000 of those reviews are bots. No, I'm serious.
Could be. Could be.
Are
'Cause
most
there's
of
a
them
lot of
just
like
all 5
full,
stars and they're like, great?
yes, it's full 5 stars. Yeah.
Yeah, those are bots. Because most of the time when I'm like, man, I don't like this book, and I look at the reviews and it has good reviews, but then you actually read somebody who wrote a review, they almost always agree. Like I almost always agree with what they have to say.
Right. Well, let's quit beating this headless horseman. Um, what are we
This
gonna
electric horse.
what are we gonna do next time?
I think what was that book called? Freaking It's a Wonderful Wife.
Yeah, It's a Wonderful Wife. So that'll probably be our Christmas special, I think.
Yeah, it should come out like right around Christmas.
Yeah, we'll try to aim for that one to come out right around Christmas. Again, apologize to anybody who's been, because we know we're slacking and we're trying not to, but it's just
It's
hard.
not slacking. It's like I just don't have a computer right now, and
Yeah.
so it just makes things a lot more complicated.
Sure. But we got some plans for 2021, so hopefully look forward to that. But yeah, I think the next one will be It's a Wonderful Wife, and that's WIFE for anybody wondering what I'm actually saying. And then we might be able to squeeze out one more before the end of the year. We just have no idea what we're going to do it about. So
I mean, we still have to do the Parasite. like the finale.
Yes, we do need to finish up Parasite. So, which that might just have to happen without your buddy involved at this point. So,
Yeah, but I would really like to be able to have notes in front of me when I do that.
yeah, that was gonna say that's the other hard part. Yeah, it would be good if you could look at the notes too. So that one might have to wait until beginning of next year, unfortunately.
Yeah, the exciting conclusion that everybody's waiting for.
Yeah, I know people are on the edge of their seat. So
He's on the edge of his seat.
yeah, there are dozens of us.
There are 5 of us.
All right. I think we can wrap this one up here. So thank you anyone for listening. Again, if you guys have like suggestions for another anime, if you just want to email us about anything, you can do that kotpl.pod@gmail.com. That's the easiest way to get a hold of us. You can go over YouTube, leave me a comment over there. That one works pretty good too. But yeah, so with that, we hope to catch everybody in the next one.